Hey everyone, I'm NikkiPursuit. For this video, I checked out a few different car gatherings happening around Southern California in March 2026, including the 6th annual Lady Lowrider Cruise Night in Pasadena, the Pharaoh's Friday Night Cruise in Ventura, and County Line Cars and Coffee in Thousand Oaks. 3 different meets, each with its own style and crowd. The first event I headed to for this video was the 6th annual Lady Lowrider Cruise Night in Pasadena. This cruise took place on March 8th along East Colorado Boulevard, running from about 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. in celebration of International Women's Day. Lowriders from across the area came out to cruise the boulevard, with the night highlighting women in lowrider culture and the community that surrounds it. It made for a great first stop in this lineup of events before heading out to the next meets later in the video. One of the reasons this event stands out is the role women have played in shaping lowrider culture over time. When lowriding first started in Southern California during the 1940s, the scene was largely male-dominated, and women were often seen mostly as passengers or supporters rather than builders or drivers. That began to change in the 1970s, when women started forming their own car clubs and stepping more directly into the culture. Groups like the Ladybugs Car Club in Los Angeles helped pave the way for what many now recognize as the rise of the lady lowrider. Today, women are not only cruising and owning lowriders, many are also restoring them, building engines, sourcing parts, and designing custom paint and artwork that reflects their identity, culture, and personal stories. Beyond the cars themselves, women in the lowrider community have also played a big role in mentorship and family tradition, often bringing younger generations into the scene and helping keep the culture alive. Events like Lady Lowrider Cruise Night highlight that evolution, celebrating the influence women continue to have in lowrider culture today. After spending some time at the Lowrider Cruise Night, Rosendo and I wrapped up the evening by heading out to grab some dinner. We ended up stopping at a sushi spot called Hikari, which was a nice way to wind down after being out along Colorado Boulevard watching the cars cruise. After Pasadena, the next stop brought me out to Ventura for another cruise night. I headed out there on March 13th to check out the Friday cruise night hosted by the Pharaoh's SoCal. It takes place every Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. on Thompson Boulevard, and it's one of those relaxed local meets where people pull up, park, talk cars, and just enjoy the classic Southern California cruising atmosphere. One of the trucks that stood out at the meet was this vintage 1960s GMC pickup, likely from the first generation of the GMC-C/K series. These trucks were built as tough, full-size work vehicles, and many of them originally came equipped with GMC's unique V6 engines, which set them apart from their Chevrolet counterparts of the same era. This particular truck has been customized with a dual-tone paint job and branding from Madrid's Salvage, giving it that classic rat rod or working shop truck look. Builds like this are pretty common in the classic truck community, where owners often add modern touches like LS engine swaps, while still keeping the vintage character. If you fast forward to today, the modern descendant of trucks like this would be the GMC Sierra, GMC's current full-size pickup line that continues the legacy of those original C/K work trucks from the 1960s. Another interesting car at the meet was this 1965 Chevrolet Corvair Corsa, a compact car that stood out in the 1960s because of its very different engineering compared to most American cars of the time. Instead of a front-mounted engine, the Corvair used an air-cooled, rear-mounted flat-six engine, and the Corsa Performance model even came with a turbocharged 164 cubic inch engine producing around 180 horsepower, paired with a 4-speed manual transmission. It also featured fully independent suspension and a sleek fastback hardtop design, giving it handling and balance that were uncommon for American cars in that era. There really isn't a direct modern American equivalent to the Corvair today because of its unique rear-engine layout, but in spirit, the closest comparison would be something like the Porsche 911, which also uses a rear-engine flat-six design. Within Chevrolet's lineup, the performance role the Corvair once filled was eventually taken over by the Chevrolet Camaro, while modern performance cars like the mid-engine Corvette C8 carry forward that same focus on balanced handling and performance. As the night in Ventura on March 13th was starting to wind down, I knew the next car event wasn't too far away. The very next morning, on March 14th, I headed out to the County Line Cars and Coffee Meet, one that I've been to before, but this time I brought my friend Rosendo along to check out the cars with me. One of the first cars that caught my attention at the County Line Cars and Coffee Meet was this Shelby Cobra, likely a 289 model based on its styling. The Cobra is famous for its unique combination of a lightweight British chassis from AC cars paired with a powerful American Ford V8 engine, creating one of the most iconic sports cars of the 1960s. The 289 cubic inch hypo engine in these cars typically produced somewhere between 271 and 306 horsepower, which was extremely impressive for such a lightweight vehicle. Features like the slab side body design, small chrome bumperettes, and the distinctive fender vents make the Cobra instantly recognizable. Today, original Cobras from the early 1960s are incredibly collectible, with authentic examples often valued well over $800,000. There really isn't a direct modern mass-produced equivalent to the Cobra because its formula was so unique. However, companies like Superformance still build officially licensed continuation versions that keep the same design while using modern components. Even the original manufacturer, AC Cars, has experimented with modern interpretations like the AC Ace Classic Electric, showing how the legacy of the Cobra continues to evolve. Another car that really stood out at County Line Cars and Coffee was this BAC Mono R, a very different kind of machine compared to the classics you usually see at these meets. Built by the British manufacturer Briggs Automotive Company, the Mono R is a road-legal, single-seat supercar designed to deliver a driving experience as close to a race car as possible. Power comes from a Mount Toon Racing-built 2.5-liter inline-4 engine, paired with a Hewland 6-speed sequential gearbox with paddle shifters. With over 340 horsepower, pushing a car that weighs only about 555 kilograms, it can launch from 0 to 60 miles per hour in roughly 2.5 seconds. The Mono R is also extremely exclusive. Each one is bespoke and built to order, often featuring extensive carbon fiber construction and advanced racing technology, with prices typically ranging from around $200,000 to well over $300,000 depending on customization. Cars like the BAC Mono sit in a very specialized category of lightweight, track-focused road cars. Modern vehicles that share a similar philosophy include machines like the Ariel Atom, KTM Expo, Caterham 620S, and the Radical SR3, all built around the same idea, stripping a car down to the essentials to deliver one of the purest driving experiences possible. At this point during the meet, Rosendo and I decided to take a quick break and grab some coffee and a snack. Luckily, La La Land Kind Cafe was right there in the same shopping center as the car meet, so it made for an easy stop before heading back out to look at more cars. Another car that stood out at the meet was this BMW 2002, part of BMW's famous O2 series lineup. This particular example appears to be a modified build, possibly inspired by the 2002 Turbo, and it's finished in the iconic signal green paint, a color that really makes these cars stand out. It also features a custom front valance with a Sue's inscription, along with what looks like a number of performance upgrades, suggesting this is a hot-rodded version with aftermarket modifications to improve its power and handling. The BMW 2002 is actually a very important car in BMW's history. Back in the late 1960s and early 1970s, these lightweight, sporty coupes helped save BMW financially and established the company's reputation for building nimble, driver-focused performance cars. Today, the closest modern equivalent to the 2002 is the BMW 3 Series, which evolved directly from the 2002 series lineage. But if you're looking at it in terms of spirit and enthusiast performance, many people see the BMW M2 as the modern successor. A compact, powerful coupe that captures the same driver-focused energy that made the original 2002 so special. That wraps up this run through a few different corners of Southern California car culture. From the Lady Lowrider Cruise Night in Pasadena, to the Pharaoh's Friday Cruise in Ventura, and County Line cars and coffee in Thousand Oaks. 3 different meets, 3 different atmospheres, all connected by the same passion for cars. I'm NikkiPursuit. Thanks for coming along for the ride.